Hey, you guys think you know which way it's going to go?
Yeah.
Always.
Well, you should head on and over to Sports Interaction, whatever sport. Sports Interaction has you covered pregame, live and betting, and all major sports. And, of course, your prop bets. If you want to bet, where do you go, guys?
Sports Interaction.
Sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Come on. 19 plus, please play responsibly.
People are stressed about that because there seems to be a perception that they need to go out and get a forward. They got to go out and get the highest ranking forward you can get. And if you can add on defense, fine. If you can't, also fine. Go out and get a forward. And they hear things like this and it causes them stress.
Because it's deviating from the plan that they set in their mind that they had no real access to.
I am encouraged by this. And I think we can extrapolate.
Okay.
Kyle Dubas is painfully and rightfully, very often, a creature of habit. He has a
You almost could write the Kyle Dubas character at this point.
It's so easy. Dude, if he has a pick somewhere between 25 and 32, what's he doing with
Trading it down.
He's trading it down.
If he's got a player he can sign to a bargain deal, what major junior team did they play for?
Probably the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds or the Chicago Steel.
And guess what? Both have worked.
And both have worked. Nick Moldenauer looks like a good pick. Bunting's been pretty good for the team. Sandine, look,
Yarncroak?
Yarncroak is not a great.
Was he not a great?
We're losing the plot here.
He was one of Dubas's guys.
We're losing the plot.
No, so yeah, we're losing the plot. What does he do all the time?
You're a plot.
If he has a pick in the late first round, he's going to trade it down, and he's going to get more picks because that is his mantra. Another thing that he does is he likes one-stop shopping at the deadline. And this has been a trend that maybe hasn't been as talked about. But remember the Jack Campbell trade?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't just get Jack Campbell, did he? He went out and got Kyle Clifford because he addressed two team needs. He went out and he got a goalie. They very badly needed a goalie. They also needed some muscle. So he went out and got some muscle. When he got Nick Foligno, people often forget he got Stefan Nason in that deal too.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? Nason didn't work out with the Leafs. Look at him now.
Been good.
Killing it on the Hurricanes and they laughed at the AHL. You talk about a late bloomer. Nason's an extremely late bloomer.
Evan Rodriguez is another guy that Dubas was like, this guy's good, and they just couldn't get him signed.
Yeah, that one was frustrating. But that wasn't a deadline deal.
No.
Another deadline deal. Last year, they got Mark Giordano. Who else?
I don't remember.
Colin Blackwell.
Oh, yeah. I liked him. I thought he was good.
He likes going out and getting more than one guy. He likes going out and doing more than one thing. So, what did, who was it with the St. Louis Blues? Armstrong? Doug Armstrong.
Yes.
He basically said on Agent Provocateur, GMs go out and they make deals with like the same six guys.
Yes. And the agents do the rest.
All right.
Look at Dubas.
Did you do this on your Twitter?
No, I did it in the CJ Show group chat.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I saw you looking.
I was looking for the tweet where you had all the deals. I was going to bring it up, but yeah.
No, it's just me fighting with Massachusetts on my Twitter.
Okay,
but
never mind. Keep going.
so ill-advisedly, it's my bad. Anyway, who does he trade with? His most common trade partner, Doug Armstrong, actually, with the St. Louis Blues. So you go and look at the Blues. Is there one-stop shopping that can be done there? I don't really think so. There's appealing guys. You can go out and get Barbashev has been rumored. Tarasenko has been rumored, not for the Leafs, but for other teams. O'Reilly has been rumored. The only pending free agent they have on D is Nico Mikkola. They're, I don't think, going to get rid of him. CJ mentioned top four. Nico Mikkola doesn't really fit that description, and all the other Blues guys are like heavily under contract for a long time. Parayko is in the first year of a deal. I did not know that. He's in the first year of a deal that pays him 6.5 until like 2030. Like it's a long deal. Okay, so Blues might not work. We know he's made a deal with Vancouver. Not a very common trade partner, but we know he was there recently. He was at very least in the same building as Patrick Allvin. They did the Dermott deal. Could they go out and get one of the Canucks forwards that have been rumored? They could. Who do they really have on D? Luke Schenn.
Yeah.
Later in that segment, CJ was asked about Luke Schenn. And he said, you're not thinking big enough.
Because that's a bottom pairing defenseman.
And a good bottom pairing defenseman, but you're not thinking big enough.
No.
For the Leafs.
Yeah, for the Leafs.
Now, a lot of people are going to say, is this the time when they finally trade Morgan Riley?
Absolutely. I don't think so.
I just wanted to take that off the table.
Well, he has a no
I know
move.
he's got a no move. I'm just,
Right?
I'm mostly saying because there's a segment of Leafs Twitter that has never liked Morgan Riley, thinks he's terrible on defense and horrible all the time.
Listen, he hasn't been good.
No, he hasn't. So a lot
He
of
needs
people
to
are
be
like,
better.
so is that, and I think it's a relevant question to say, are they feeling a little bit insecure on defense because of Morgan Riley's play?
It's entirely possible, Adam. It's entirely possible.
And maybe he is fighting an injury. Usually when good players aren't playing good, it's a nagging injury.
The most important week of the season for Morgan Riley might be this one. Sit still.
Or maybe just stop playing until you're ready.
Or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay. Like they've handled it.
I think I have our target.
Who's our target?
Chicago.
Okay.
They've made deals with Chicago. Dubas talks with Kyle Davidson. It has at times been tumultuous. We know that Fleury Nyes thing. He was very upset about the Nyes rumor getting out, but they made up enough to make a significant deal at the draft where Chicago got Mrazek. Chicago got, I think, the 25th pick from the Leafs, and the Leafs moved down to 38. Who do the Blackhawks have? If you want one-stop shopping.
Lafferty.
Well,
I'm kidding. He's not a defenseman.
well,
That's
if you
the
want
joke.
to, if you want to completely swing for the fences,
Patrick Kane.
you do either Kane and McCabe.
Mm-hmm.
Jake McCabe,
to
not
me,
Brian.
sorry,
Mhm.
yeah, this wouldn't be the first time they got a McCabe from Chicago. The it all comes back to McCabe. So McCabe is the guy on D. You do Kane and McCabe. Well, how do you make that work money wise? McCabe, even if you retain on him, if you retain 50%, is like $2 million this year and next
And the year after.
and the year after. So it's 2 more years.
Jake McCabe's signed to a 3 years left on his deal. So this year plus 2 more after that for $4 million.
If you can get Chicago to retain half on that, that's fantastic.
Sure.
Fantastic.
Is Caleb Jones not a better target? If he's 1.35 and he's 25 years old, he's an RFA at the end of it. He's not as good.
Well, that's
obviously,
the problem,
but
isn't it?
Yeah.
He's not as good a player.
Right, but what's the gap between Jake McCabe and Caleb Jones?
Big enough.
Big enough?
I think.
That's your scouting department. I got a different one.
Oh,
Yeah,
what do you
no.
think of Caleb Jones?
I think
You had him in gel, didn't you?
I think he's a decent player.
You had him in friggin' gel.
As a GM, you have to trust what the scouts around you say. And you
Jesse
send them
Blake
out and they go to the arenas.
Loves his guys.
And he's might be one of my guys. I don't know. I haven't acquired him recently, but we'll see.
So, similarly, at least money-wise, there's McCabe and Taves.
Mhm.
Woo.
Ooh.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot
You
of
got to
money.
be sending Kerfoot out.
And that is why I don't, well, that is why I don't think it's going to happen.
Mhm.
So I think, based on what Dubas has done, I think they're trying to figure out how to make a Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty deal work.
Interesting.
Lafferty is signed this year and next.
Right.
McCabe is signed this year and next and next.
Mhm.
If you're able to get Chicago to retain on McCabe,
Mm-hmm.
you do that trade all day. Someone on Twitter, oh God, who was it? Nick something. They said a second Hirvonen and Aberzizi. I like Hirvonen, and I like the possibility of second round picks. Aberzizi's had a good year in the AHL.
Do we have a second round pick? Oh, it's next year's, right? I don't think they.
I
have
don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they have a second round pick.
I don't
this
know.
year. Anyway, keep.
Anyway,
going.
They do not.
They do not.
The 2024. They
Okay.
do have 2/3.
so let's say it's the 2024 pick.
Okay.
I do that trade every day. Because you're basically getting Jake McCabe at the price of Justin Hall for the next 2 years after this one. Plus you add a winger in Sam Lafferty this year and next.
Who's Sam Lafferty bumping out?
I mean, he's been good on a bad team, but so is Ryan DeZingle.
I will not lie, I don't know.
Like,
But it seems like exactly the sort of move Dubas would make.
yes, that is true. But is it the smart move because you're getting a bottom 6 forward? Probably.
It's forward thinking. because they're going to lose a lot of guys this summer.
Can I post something? Like
this?
Well, no, I'd love to post
like this.
I want to ask you guys because Dubas he is methodical, process-driven person, right?
Yep.
Is there some wisdom in doing the stupid thing?
What's the stupid thing?
Well, okay. And I'm only basing this on one experience, but there's plenty of times where this goes wrong, but when it goes right, it goes really right. So if you remember in 2015, Alex Anthopoulos had a 500 baseball team.
Yes.
But the run differential was huge. And he said, if we can improve the pitching and we can get some more hitting and better defense at shortstop, we'll make it happen. So he goes out and gets Tulowitzki and David Price, and I think who was the other guy? Ben Revere.
Revere.
And they won so many games after the All-Star break that Blue Jays fans started showing up to the arena saying we may never lose again.
Dude,
like there was an actual sign because they just kept winning and winning and winning and winning.
The 2015 Blue Jays back half of the season is one of the craziest phenomenons I've ever seen in sports in the city.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And Dubas is a process-driven guy. That McCabe deal is somewhat exciting, but that's not really a deal that gets your blood pumping, right? The David Price deal got people's blood pumping, and then Tulo was like, yeah, let's go. And I wonder if, because they've made so many process-driven trades, I wonder if this year or maybe next year are the years where you go, fuck it, we're all in. And
Jonathan Toews would be that.
You think so? I think Patrick Kane might be that, but he hasn't been played
or
great.
Patrick Kane. Like either one of, I would probably lean on Toews, but like that'd be a everybody wake up moment.
And Matthews and Kane apparently do want to play together at some point.
Kane is such a weird one. I mean, money aside, he's had a dreadful season.
Yep.
On a dreadful team.
Yep.
Also, it sounds like his hip's busted.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him come back next year and kill it with someone else.
They're saying
that's next year.
Not even Chicago.
They were saying it's Chicago. He could just come back to Chicago on like a league min, a couple $1 million or something, and just play another year and then get traded at the deadline again to do a solid for the organization. You know, like so instead of this season you're unloading him and everything, he comes back. We do this again next deadline.
The impression I've gotten just from things I've read is like remember the playoffs are 2 months, best case scenario, right? As Leaf fans, sometimes we forget that. Because it usually only lasts about 2 weeks. It is 2 bloody months. And from what I've read, it doesn't sound like his body at current standing can withstand that. Right. Now, maybe he's hoisting the cup in June for the 4th time, and I'm wrong. I don't know.
So should Dubas get Jonathan Toews?
Toews can make some sense. Toews' camp that's fascinating. But it all goes back to one-stop shopping, and I think Chicago is the number 1 target. Now, to make Toews work, they've done 3-way moves before. Yes. And they've done it at the deadline.
Yeah.
They did it with the Columbus Blue Jackets and the San Jose Sharks.
We're looking at double retain.
Double retain. Now, the guy who Dubas has made all his Sharks moves with is no longer there. I can't remember the previous GM's name. I know it's Mike Greer now. I don't.
Doug Wilson.
Doug Wilson loves his Dougs.
He does. I don't know. I just there's something in me that feels like I would be thrilled about Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty. Like the analytical side of my brain, which is about the size of a pea, would be very excited about that. But there's something about the raw fan in me that's like bringing a big name. Let's carry a big stick here.
He hasn't had his. This is the thing. So you talked about Alex Anthopoulos, a general manager for a sport in this city.
Who is, by the way, very process-driven and very analytics-driven.
But absolutely swung for the fences, and not a fan in the city faults him for it.
No.
Other moves, yes. That magical spring.
And the one after, really.
Who are your big names?
No.
I think a big name has got to be Timo Meier. Because I like the fact that Timo Meier's like physical, scores a bunch of goals, that sort of thing. I don't mind the Jonathan Toews one. I told you last episode, I keep thinking, the more I think about it, the more I like it. I like the leadership. I like the face-off winning. I like the fact that he doesn't need to be the guy. He can be the 3rd best center on the team, and that's fine. Somebody's going to go down for an injury anyway. And then you got Jonathan Toews as your second line center, which is, again, pretty good. I love, those are kind of the names that stick out to me.
Those two, yeah.
Those are the ones that I think make the most sense, though. Like, do the Leafs need a left winger with size? Sure. And listen, they might get one. Matt Nyes, by the way, we don't have to trade him. He could play. He could even be a Leaf. And it's almost like people don't even consider that. It's
boat's a boat, but the mystery box can be anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a boat.
It's Matthew Nyes could come in and be spectacular for the Leafs, or he could be a guy who needs some time to adjust in the NHL level, and this is not the season, and maybe next season.
I don't know if they have the assets to completely swing for the fences, to be honest. Like, they have...
I mean, is okay, if the Leafs had gotten Bo Horvat,
yes.
would that not have been a swing for the fences? That's a swing for the fences name.
Yes.
Look at what it cost. Conditional first, a non-Matthew Nyes level prospect, frankly.
I'm trying to think of like what the...
And Beauvillier.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what the Leafs equivalent of Aatu Räty would be. And
it's not Nyes, by the way.
Well, every team overvalues their own guys, so maybe it is Nyes.
But why? Okay, if every team overvalues their guys, why is everybody calling about Matthew Nyes then?
Well, then maybe it's Mitten. Maybe it's Hirvonen.
Yep.
Maybe it's
they have
Nivola.
to part with somebody that they really like. And anybody who writes scouting stuff, I look at Scott Wheeler pulling his hair out. Like, no, don't do that. You know, they're always, but I think you got to part with something. I don't think Matthew Nyes is the something, but you part with something of serious value and you go for it. Because listen, I keep saying this every freaking year, and people are like, I'm like, go back and look at Boston's trade history at the trade deadline. They always go and get their guy. It's always the guy.
But even, I was about to say, even they don't swing for the fences. Not true. They gave up a first-round pick for Andre Kasha. I don't remember what they gave up for Lindholm. I assume it was
Taylor Hall deal.
Yeah.
Taylor Hall deal.
Right. Not
Charlie Coyle.
Who was the other guy? Rick Nash.
Rick Nash.
And then there was another guy who was a power forward with Chicago, and then he went to Boston, but he's, I think, since fizzled out, but he was...
I don't remember.
Yeah. I mean, they always do it. They always do it.
Mm.
And I know, listen, the Lafferty-McCabe thing makes a lot of sense to me. It makes a lot of Kyle Dubas sense, but I'm wondering if Kyle Dubas is ever going to just like pull off the cape and go, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, but you got to... I'm not saying what I want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
What I want them to do is keep all their prospects and get Timo Meier because that's possible.
Right.
In my fantasy child brain.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at Dubas's history, I look at Chicago, I look at McCabe, and honestly, it's probably Lafferty.
For the Bruins, did we mention Hampus Lindholm?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Okay.
I don't
was
know
just
if
looking
I
at their trade history.
called him that name. What was it for Lindholm?
It was a first-round pick, a second-round pick, a second-round pick, John Moore, and Vakanainen.
Shit.
It was a lot.
That is a lot.
And 50%, the Ducks did retain 50%, but like that's a lot of
Worth
assets. And yeah, are the Leafs and Dubas willing to give up a package like that? 1 first, 2 seconds, a player, and then a prospect.
For a guy who at the time was viewed as like potentially an injury-prone player.
And he's been spectacular.
Oh,
he's been
unreal.
so good.
Absolutely
He's been
unreal.
worth it every step of the way.
It was 2.6 against the cap for that little run to the playoffs, and then he re-signed.
If the Ducks do rebuild, it'll be Boston that funded it.
Yeah.
Like between Lindholm and Kasha.
That's what a good trade is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess
because they go get the guy and then they re-sign him for how many years was that? 8 years. 8 years, 6.5 on the cap.
And
that seems worth it.
So then here's the other thing: you're going to play Tampa, right? And you want to get better on defense, and I understand that. You have a lot of good defensemen. You don't have any great defensemen. Like Victor Hedman's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Sergachev is moving out of good defenseman into great defenseman. I would say Victor Hedman's the elite defenseman.
Is it ignorant to look at all the bad numbers with Hedman and ignore them?
Yeah, it's fine.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
What bad numbers?
Like supposedly he's had a down season in terms of his defensive impacts, but
I'm sure over a 7-game series that's not going to matter too
2
much.
Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
That's a good number.
Yeah, and
if I'm
several
sitting
finals
here,
appearances.
If I'm sitting here in 3, 4, 5 years and I'm talking about how good Victor Hedman was in 2021, yeah, I'm being an old man. He was incredible last year.
Yes.
Last year.
Yeah.
So
I don't think he forgot.
Sorry. So my whole point in this is the Leafs are defense by committee right now. There's nobody out there that's available that is going to get you Victor Hedman. Like, there's no Victor Hedmans available.
Right.
So you're going to have to be good all the way through. So the Jake McCabe thing makes sense. But I just feel like if you've got the assets, you've already got, like, look at their defense, like 1-8. I've never been more satisfied with the Leafs defense as it currently is. This defense is better than the defense I used to watch in front of Cujo and Belfour. It's definitely better than it used to be in Potvin. Like, this is the best defense this team has had in a very long time by committee.
For fans of other teams who are laughing, the bar is so...
Yeah, go look at the roster. Remember, this is a team that played, and no offense to him, but Connor Carrick in his second year was their fourth best defenseman.
He played with Jake Gardner
consistently.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and
I love the guy, but
yeah, for sure. And then you look at back in the day, it's like the Yuskevich Markov pairing, which we always vaunted. Oh my God, they shut down Yager. I love them too, but they weren't great.
No.
And
they were elite.
They were elite. So my thinking is, I really want to see them swing for it, whether it's this year or next. But I can understand them holding off because maybe Boston isn't this good next year.
Oh, and then another team is.
But then somebody else is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, look at Carolina right now is on fire. Like, every year there's going to be a team that's really good and then a bunch of other teams that are really good.
They're so unreal, Carolina. They're so unreal. It's so freaking crazy what they've been able to do.
For some reason, I've decided to ignore the Sharks, and I don't know why. Mm-hmm. Let's play the game. If they get Meyer's the big part. Do they have any defensemen worth going after? If you say Erik Karlsson, you're disqualified.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Marc-Edouard Vlasic. No. Mario Ferraro. No. That's not going to happen. He's signed for 3 years after this one.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Benning. No. Jacob McDonald. No. Jacob Mania. No. Scott Harrington is a pending UFA. No. All of them. No. Nudavara is a UFA, but he's on LTIR. I don't even know when he's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want two players in the deal. You think that's the way to do it?
I mean, he could also go out and make a deal with one team and then make a deal with another. But I'm not saying he has to do that. I'm just saying he's a creature of habit, and that's one of his habits. He likes his one-stop shop.